As Europe roils over its worst refugee crisis in nearly 8 decades, President Biden announced Thursday the United States will take in 100,000 Ukrainian refugees fleeing Putin's invasion. Notably, on Thursday, the White House also announced the most significant overhaul to the nation's legal asylum process in almost 30 years, which comes interestingly after a report in the Wall Street Journal earlier this month of an increased number of Ukrainians trying to claim asylum as they cross into the United States from Mexico, raising interesting questions about what bearing a foreign war may have on our domestic immigration politics. Joining me now, Justin Guest, Associate Professor at George Mason University and author of the new book out this week, Majority Minority, which takes a deep dive into the ongoing demographic and ideological changes in the United States. Justin, welcome back to the Sunday Show. Let's broaden the aperture for a minute. Help us understand these apparent convergences between the United States and Europe's far-right factions. Is the war in Ukraine destabilizing their political power in the U.S.?
Thanks so much, Jonathan. It's great to be with you. Certainly, it's making things uncomfortable for the far right. Vladimir Putin has been an icon for the far right for a very long time. The far right is unified by a lot of illiberal and often undemocratic norms. And he has been a sort of lodestar for many of their luminaries, many of their leaders across a variety of countries, including Italy, Hungary, Poland, and elsewhere. The other thing that unites the far right in Europe, because they are quite diverse parties, is disdain for immigration and very strong nativism and nationalism against immigrants. And so the overwhelming support for Ukraine and Ukrainian refugees has really made things uncomfortable because it violates so many of the principal pillars that have upheld the far right this last decade.
And the far right, as we're talking about it in Europe, does have connections, maybe even tenuous, but from an ideological perspective, with the far right here in the United States, right?
Absolutely. So Donald Trump, in many ways, inspired many far right leaders and fueled their rise in the most recent, 5 to 6 years. And certainly vice versa, Europe really came first with its far-right movement because they were empowered by their electoral institutions, which allowed parties to enter government, enter parliament, even if they didn't win large shares of the population. They have proportionate representation systems there. And so even if you get 5%, fringe support, you have representation. And so in many ways, we're in a sort of a political volley between the transatlantic space.
So then what does the Ukraine refugee crisis tell us about how to break the gridlock over immigration policy here at home? Do you see the United States doing more than changing asylum policy? And do we anticipate that the United States will accept more than 100,000 Ukrainian refugees that it's already agreed to?
Well, it's a great start so far, I think, because we need to reform these policies. And I think it's important that our country remain a refuge for people who are fleeing autocracy and tyranny abroad, as we always have as a country for the last century. However, I think what these politics are showing us is something really interesting, because one of the hardest attitudes to move in the United States are attitudes about immigration. So just last summer, just 15% of Americans believed that we should be increasing the number of refugees in this country. When President Biden decided to increase the number of refugees thereafter, only 37% of Americans said that they agreed with that new policy. And, that's really low numbers. However, when the Afghan airlift took place last autumn, and then when Ukrainian refugees began to flee Eastern Europe this spring, what we began to see was overwhelming support for refugees. 2/3 of Americans support welcoming Ukrainians. 3/4 of Americans supported welcoming Afghans who supported U.S. diplomatic and military personnel in Afghanistan. These are incredibly high numbers. What is the difference here? Well, I think it's very clear. Americans are starting to recognize that welcoming refugees into this country is actually in our national interest. And these refugees are demonstrating that in their opposition to autocracy and Putin's tyranny and invasion, and also in their opposition to the Taliban in Afghanistan. And I think that this is a lesson for all of us in the immigration space who have previously been trying to persuade people about the humanitarian case, that immigrants and that refugees pose. And of course, these are real humanitarian cases, and people are very vulnerable. And the economic contributions that they make, and they make real economic contributions, but the core is the way that they support the American national interest.
Justin, on a final note, your father was an inspiration for your work, and he passed away on Friday. My condolences, our condolences. Tell us about him.
That's really kind of you. You know, in so many ways, my father, it connects to today's news right now. My father was a refugee from Eastern Europe, and you know, he came to this country with basically nothing. It was a sort of classic American story, arriving by boat on Ellis Island. And, you know, he leaned on our meritocracy. He leaned on the integrity of hard work to achieve really the American dream, that something that feels so distant and, you know, far from us right now. He was an inspiration to me and honestly inspired all the work that I do. Thank you so much for mentioning him.
Of course. And thank you, Justin, as always, for coming to the show. My thoughts and prayers to you and your family.
Thank you, Jonathan.